Hi, welcome back to another episode of Nobody's Doing It Right, the podcast for those who are uncertain. My name is Kat, I am your host. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why you should stop seeing it as trying. So, what I mean by this is that one self-sabotaging narrative I often have in my mind that makes me self-sabotage is that I see things as me trying. And obviously, trying is part of our vocabulary. It is a word that exists and represents something, but I think it can be beneficial for us to reframe what trying is, because I think for me, in terms of my own self-sabotage, when I think of things as I'm trying, it evokes a sense of not getting. As in, if you are always trying, you are always just pushing that rock up the mountain, right? You're never actually at the top of it. You're never actually there. And what that does is it makes us feel like our progress is not good. It's not right. It's not part of the process. When in reality, the trying part is part of the grander scheme. It's not separate from the getting part. To try is to do, in a sense. To be trying is not anything other than also doing. So for me, what's really helped is to reframe the way I look at trying as not trying, but this is it. I'm doing. I am being. This is part of it. And of course, the paths we're on will take different directions. They're not always linear. They're not always going to go from point A to point B. There are going to be redirections, realignments, pivots, having to reevaluate things to make sure that they're right for us or not. So that all might feel like I'm trying, because you're not actually getting to where you want to be. But, at times maybe it's not where you actually want to be. So you do have to have that realignment. You do have to have that pivot to get onto the more aligned path. So that trying process is still the doing and it's still the getting. It's all connected in that way. But I find that for me and for many other people that I've heard in the comments when I posted this video on TikTok, we struggle with the idea of trying because it makes us self-sabotage. When we think of it as trying all the time, it's always reflecting to us that we don't have it because we're trying. And to see us as always trying and not getting makes us feel maybe incompetent, lazy, unworthy because, look, I'm putting so much effort in, I'm trying all the time and I still don't have what I want. It's like, no, this is it. This is what you want. The trying is not separate from the actual getting. The trying is not separate from the end goal that you want to get. It is part of it. It's all interconnected. So you are getting it. So basically you're there, you don't have that thing yet. You don't see that outcome or that external reality yet, but this is it. You are on the path toward it. So you have it in a sense, just not in this time and space right now. So it can be really helpful to reframe the way you see trying, not as trying, but as having or as being. I'm being. And I found that this actually completely changed the way I engage with the things in my life, whether they be positive things or negative things, right? This can potentially also apply to any sort of vices you have. The idea of trying to quit something, trying to quit. I'm trying to quit while still doing it, right? Or trying to quit, not seeing it as I am quitting, right? And maybe you're just lessening the amount you take of something or the amount of, sugar you eat, whatever your vice is that you want to work towards, right? You are seeing it as trying rather than doing. So any effort you put into it is going to feel like, see, I'm not doing it anyway, so I might as well just give up. I might as well just quit because it's always trying, but it's never getting. And it's like, but maybe the trying thing that you're seeing, which is you've lessened your sugar intake by this much, while yeah, you're still eating it, it doesn't mean you aren't on the path toward not eating it anymore in total. And of course, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with enjoying sugar if you want to eat sugary foods. I have a sweet tooth, so I let myself indulge as well. But I'm just using it as an example. But this can apply to any kind of vice or maybe addiction you might have. Someone in the comments of my video talked about how this can also apply to drinking, trying to quit alcohol. So I think it can apply in various ways and various levels to the things that you're struggling with. And obviously, I am not an expert in any kind of addiction recovery. So this isn't me talking about that specifically or giving advice in that way. I just like the idea of transforming the perspective of trying to reflect that you are still doing, even if it's not perfect yet, or even if you're not exactly where you want to be in terms of what you're trying to mitigate in your life. If you are hyper-focused on trying, you are forgetting that you are actually still doing. And that might make you self-sabotage. That might make you give up because you're not seeing those, 0 to 100 results right away. The black or white, the all or nothing. When life isn't like that. Life is not black and white. Life is not 100% this or 100% that. There are levels, there are processes, there are steps. And to think that you will get to that place very quickly, wherever you want to be, and to not see results right away means you are a failure. To think that you are in the process of trying, meaning you don't have that thing, of course you're not going to see yourself as worthy or valid or capable, because you're looking at it from the perspective of trying rather than I am doing, because the process of trying is still the doing process. I hope that makes sense. I feel like it could be a little bit esoteric, maybe convoluted to talk about it this way, but I think for those of us who get it, we get it. And for me, when I reframed it in this way, it really changed the way I see myself too. I am not always a project in process, right? I'm not incomplete. I'm not always trying to be completed all the time. What I am and how I'm behaving and how I'm showing up is it, just where I am right now. And that might mean that, yes, you are moving towards something different, but in every step of that process, you are doing, you are being. And you can have goals, of course. This isn't to say that you shouldn't have goals or aim towards things, but to see that progress towards that thing, not as I'm trying. So it's like, no, you're being. You're just not quite there yet. And that's okay. Because it might take years, it might take months, it might take days. You might realize at some point that specific end goal is not your end goal, so you might have to redirect and find a new one. But all of that is vital to the process. You need to be on that trying, quote unquote, trying path to get there. So ultimately, the trying is the being. It is part of it. It is you in your complete form, in a sense, just right now. And that form might change in every given moment of your life. And that's why, of course, mindfulness is a really important practice, because the present is the only thing that is real, right? The future, we can think about it, we can envision it, we can prepare for it, but it's not real yet. And the past, of course, is done. We can't go back and change it. So the only real thing is the present. And in this present moment, you are complete. You are being. So while you might be doing things to try and get to an envisioned outcome or future, you are still you right now, and that should be appreciated and respected and honored as being, not my current self is just me trying. So you're never quite fully formed in that, mindset. You are being, you are it. This is it. This is what the journey looks like. So to completely feel like trying is somehow outside of that process and not included in it will make you probably self-sabotage, as it often has to me. So now when I'm ever trying to achieve something, work toward a goal of any kind, I try really hard. And of course, this is easier said than done. So, I don't blame you if you struggle with this, of course. It's normal and it's human. I try not to look at it as, I try not to look at it as trying. Because when I say, okay, I'm trying to do this thing, I'm trying to, grow my social media platform, whatever your goal is, if you are an artist who's putting content out there, right? I'm trying. It's like, no, you're doing. Even that one follow is doing. It is being. This is part of it. So to think I'm trying, meaning I'm the only valid thing to be is that end goal, that whatever, however many followers you want to get to, that's not it. That's only half of it. Part of it is also this part where you are in the middle of what you're trying to cultivate, right? The trying is part of the being. So I hope that made sense. I hope that was informative. I hope it gave you a different perspective on what it means to try. And hopefully you can attempt to work on this mindset as well so that you don't self-sabotage. Because if you notice that in yourself, that, every time I tell myself I'm trying something, I end up, it ends up backfiring on me, or I end up just giving up after, because to look at the end goal as this constant trying process feels so overwhelming, then yeah, maybe it's time to reframe the way you look at every step of it. Because if you are trying to get to an end goal, you have to see yourself now as being it. You just don't have the external representation of it yet. But you can't be it or rather, you can't get to it without being it. And of course, this does tie into manifestation as well. But if you're looking for a more, I guess, secular perspective, a grounded perspective that I often appreciate and just clicks for me better, that's how I see it. It's you can't get something without being it. But to be it, you have to be it right now. So it's not that you're trying to be it. You are it. So yeah, I hope that made sense. I hope this was helpful. If you want to talk about it with me in more detail, feel free to book a one-to-one call if you'd like. Of course, I'm not a therapist. I say that all the time, just to clarify. These are just my thoughts, my experiences, and I just really love talking about them. You can also follow my Substack if you want to read the essays I write about these topics. Follow my social media platforms. And yeah, I will be back again soon with another episode.